How's everybody doing tonight? We're up to day 5 in the ROKR pinball machine. Doesn't really look like a pinball machine yet. I guess it looks maybe a little like a circus, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a pinball machine. This camera you're looking at is normally the close-up camera, but I don't know what to do. We need to be able to see this pinball machine as we build it. Maybe, like, what is the answer? Is it this camera way back here, or is it using the close-up camera but not zooming it in? I don't know what's the answer. We'll see. Thank you. So we could zoom this in, this camera, and then we would use this as the camera to get a full shot of the of what we're building. So I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. Feel free to tell me what to do in chat. Page 11 we were up to, or did we start page 11? Or we? Okay, yeah, here we are, page 11. Doesn't look familiar. I don't think we started page 11. Let's go to page 10. Okay, yeah. We finished page 10 yesterday, so I guess now we're on page 11. So what do we got here on page 11? We got a lot of pieces here. A6 times 2, A14 times 2, D1, D2, D3, D1 is times 2, I10, I15 times 2, I16 times 2, and I18. That's a lot of pieces. And I'm not sure that they're broken up into any kind of segments. I mean, it's just like one big picture here. Well, there are little segments off of the main picture. Now that I see that, they're like kind of bubbles. Like, anyway, this looks like kind of a complex page. We're just gonna take it slow and try to get everything done here. So for starters, let's just count up how many pieces we need, and then we'll start collecting the pieces. So A6 times 2, A14 times 2, D1 times 2, D2, D3, I10, I15 times 2, I16 times 2, and I18. All right. We're at an even 100 pieces. Perfect. So now we got to collect all these pieces. The A sheet, I believe, is somewhere over in this stack. We work with the A sheet quite a bit. Is it this little tiny sheet here? How have we been like calling on this on every page, and it's just this little... Well, this is the smallest sheet. There's 2 C sheets, but one of the C sheets is an eighth size. A is a quarter size, but there's only one A page. So A6 times 2, A14 times 2. Those are the pieces we need. So A14, I just spy it right here. So that's like, I don't know what that is. It's probably just going to slide across something and sit there. It's not really a very functional piece. All right, that was A14. We still need A6, which is right here. 2 A6s. So, there's A6. That looks like it holds in the A14. Does it look like it's the right size? I'm not sure if it's the right size to fit in there or not. And even if it is, I'm not sure if it goes in there. But, yeah, that's about the right size. All right, now D. We need 3 pieces from the D sheet. I think the D sheet is a large sheet. No, here's the D sheet right here. which is good. Makes it easy to find. I'm like showing you these little sheets here. These are half size sheets and smaller. The big sheets are here. We've got a box off camera, and these sheets are much bigger. When we get to them, you'll see them. That's the size of a big sheet. It's like pretty much huge. Wow, I just dropped a piece out of one of those huge sheets. Just like dropped right out. I think that's the side of the pinball machine. What else could it be? That's what it looks like. Alright, so D1 times 2, and then D2 and D3. Here's D1. So D1 is like quite a big piece here. And the D1, D2, D3, they're all right here. There's two D1s. D2, D3. I. Okay, I is definitely one of the big sheets. Where is I? That one I knocked a piece out of was G. This is I. We've used I quite a bit. So I 10, 15, 16, and 18. I also think we've knocked some I pieces like out of the... I'm just checking what I have on this pile over here. Because I know some of these came from I. I don't know if they're 15. There's 10. Yeah. There's 10. See? It's a good thing I checked it. I think that's the only one. The others are probably still in here. So this I-10. There's I-10. There's also I-11 right there. But this I-10, that's the one we need right now. Odd looking piece. I'm not sure what that piece is. It's also a tough piece to get out without breaking it. So it's got these long, skinny arms. Alright, there it is. That is a strange piece, in my opinion. That's I-10. And I'm going to throw out this board. I'm going to harvest the I-11. Oh, but then I lose that it's called I-11. Well, I could write it on it in pencil, but I think I'll recognize that piece. Alright, I'm going to throw this out. Just because I haven't thrown out any boards yet. I just want to throw something out. Alright. So I-15 times 2, I-16, and I-18. So there's not much left on the I's. There's 15, there's 16, there's 18. And there's another I-11. So we can throw out this I board if we're willing to pop another I-11 and throw it on the pile. Because I-10 we got. Then they want two I-15s. Oh, and there's also I-3 here. Alright, I-15 looks almost as weird as I-10. Alright, two I-15s. Another reason I want to get rid of a big board is I can't close the box. When I put it away at night, if I can throw out one of these big boards, then I'll be able to close the box at night. Alright, there's the I-15s. No, sorry, there's the I-16s. These are the I-15s, these are the I-16s. What's left is I-18, and there's I-3 and I-11 here. Alright. Alright, so all that's left on this I board is another I-11. I already popped one of them, so I'll pop that one. And then there's two I-3s, which what I'm going to do, I'm going to break this board. to get those I3s out. Because I want to throw this giant board out. I don't have a saw, though. Well, there you go. I almost popped the I3s. I did pop the I3s. Alright. So, that's the answer. We have tiny little I3s. If we're ever looking for them, there they are. And then this board can finally be thrown out. So, we've thrown out our first big board, I. And we've collected all the pieces we need. So we're 11 minutes in. We haven't put we haven't put two pieces together yet. And honestly, I'm not sure what goes first here. I need to study the instructions. All right, just looking left to right. The first thing they're doing is connecting an I-15 to an I-18 using an I-16. All right, so here's I-15. So ink side out. I'll do the ink this way, ink side out. Here's I-18. So 18 doesn't have, oh no, it does have a little bit of ink there. There's a little bit of ink right there. So that's ink side out. So I think it goes like this, right? Yeah, that looks good. And we should connect them with a 16. 16 is a crazy little, funky little piece. What is going on there? Anyway, that's the piece. That's 16. That's what we're using. So we stick it in to 15. And on the other side in 18. So that's the first. It's not, there's nothing holding that together at the moment. But that's the first thing we've done for this sheet. The next thing we need to do, let's figure that out. Well, right underneath it, it shows it together. So we've done that. All right. So what indeed is next? It says first pass. Oh, so we need to do something with this wire. First pass the wire out of this hole and straighten it downwards. Do not pull with force. The groove, do not clamp wires. The groove, do not clamp wires. That doesn't sound like proper English. Maybe does not clamp. I don't know. Let's avoid clamping, I guess. I don't know. Let's just take a look at the picture and see if we can figure this out. So there's a wire. Oh, they want us to feed the wire through this little thing that we built. Interesting. So where is this going to go? Okay, it's going to drop down. So, see, this is why I wanted this. This is why I didn't want to use this as a close-up camera today. So, we got to spin this around. You see this wire here? That's the wire that they're talking about. I'm not sure quite yet what we have to do with it. I need to study this more. There's a hole here. And I feel like should the wire go through that hole, but I don't know. They don't tell us to do that. So we're not going to do it. What they do tell us to do is put the wire through. Is it just this groove here? Just this groove here? Is that all they want? Now it's like I lined up all these pieces, but now I want this area to workspace, just so you can see what I'm doing here. Or maybe I have to go to this camera. All right, so yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Even though it's far away, at least you can see what's going on. So this thing that we built is going to go in this hole, but we have to feed these wires through the middle. Not even through the middle. That's not the correct place to say. There's a... All right. On I-18, there's a little, like, rectangle there, and that's where it goes. The wire goes in the rectangle. I'm not sure where it goes next. But let's try to get this piece in. And then we'll figure it out. Now, I feel like we need to figure it out first. All right, let's look at some more of these close-ups. It does show that wire some more. It shows it going through these pieces down here. And it shows them before this piece is put into here. I don't know if that's like artistic license to show that like that, but I'm going to try to do it. So, where does it go? There's a rectangle here, and that's where it goes. And then after it goes through that, then it has to go like out through whatever is below here. Looks like I'm putting this piece in at the same time. It doesn't fit. Or does it? Yeah, I guess it does. Wow. It's like falling apart while I do it, and I think I was not speaking to the microphone for a second. I had my head... Oh, you can't even see. My arm is blocking the whole thing. Sorry. Alright, I guess I have to go back to this camera. It's the only thing that'll allow you to see what's going on here. So I'm holding this thing together with my fingers. Oh man, now the camera's blocking. And then down here is the wire. It says don't tug too hard. So I'm trying to be careful not to do that. It also says not to clamp it. So I'm trying not to clamp it. And I'm trying to get these wood pieces in. I'm trying to do a lot of stuff. None of it is really working. Alright. So there's a little rectangle down here. And I believe that's where this is supposed to go. Yeah, it shows it going through two rectangles and then out, but I'm not sure how it gets out. Yeah, it doesn't even like look right. It doesn't look like the pieces that we have. It looks like this piece. And maybe I'm just looking at it from the wrong angle. I gotta look at it. We gotta turn it to match their picture. Alright, now it matches their picture. But I still don't see the exit. They're showing it like this piece isn't here yet, but this piece is here. They're like ignoring this piece. But that piece is there. We can't ignore it. They can ignore it in their drawing. I have to deal with it in real life. And this is all just to keep the lights going. All right. The wire is jammed in there. This piece I was pushing in, I need to pull out because it's pinching the wire. It's probably what they meant by do not clamp. Okay. There's like a little space here, and that's like the best way to do it. Basically, I'm going to pull this whole thing out and start again. So there's a little notch there. I'm going to line the wire up with that notch so that it doesn't get pinched. Yeah, this is going in much easier now. So the wire was getting pinched before, which is not good. All right, so now I have it kind of in there. I mean, it's a little bit like loose, but I need it to be so I can work with this wire. So I'm going to try to get that wire through these two rectangles and then out the bottom. I can't even get it through the first rectangle. And the first rectangle I can see and put my fingers on. The second rectangle I can't get to. I'm probably going to need needle nose pliers. Alright, this thing is kind of in. I think it's in. We might as well push it in because it's not going to interfere with the wire anymore. Wow. Did that go in? What's going on here? Is this supposed to go all the way down like that? Not sure. What's it look like on the other side? I mean, it looks good. I guess that was correct. We still need to get this wire down. Let's try the needle nose pliers. It'd be a miracle if this wire works. Oh man. You cannot see the second one at all. Am I going to have to pull these things back out to get to the second one? I think so. Yeah. You can't close it until you've got the wire all the way through. Otherwise, you can't reach in there to get it through the second board. I feel like we're only going to do one page tonight. So we're spending all the time on this wiring job. Where is it? I know there's a second thing it has to catch. It's totally out on this side. Or is it not? Oh, that's how it's supposed to be. Oh, okay. So why did I have it looped over the top? Oh, because I had this lifted up so high. Okay. Alright, let's lift this up just a little so we can see what we're doing. Yeah, I can see it now. I don't know if you can. but I can see the cable. I've got to get it in that little that little rectangle, and then once we do that, then we're good. Everything else is easy. I think I had it for a second, but it popped out. Okay. It's in there. How to get it out, though? Just keep pushing down on it? Oh, here we go. It's on this side. But they're showing it coming out a different angle. Okay, maybe we have to go down there? Yeah. Okay, we have to go down one more level, I think. Something keeps pulling it back up. All I need to know really is where does the cable need to be at the end. And that picture they've given us, I think it's coming out here. I think that's where it needs to come out. So it's not quite there yet. Every time I tug on it, something tugs back. Let me push from this end at the same time. All right, is it down there yet? It is, finally. The cable is finally through. What? As soon as I let go of it, it like disappeared. I feel like I want to tape it here for a second so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, let's see if we can get this. We had it on a minute ago, but the cable wasn't through, so we had to pull it all apart. That cable is a pain in the neck. All right. I can't, it's in there. I can't grab it. I mean, it's totally accessible right now. It's just really skinny and I can't grab it. How did it end up way down like that? Did it come disconnected from that tape? No, it's good. Everything looks good. It's just, I guess I just need to tug on it. Get it kind of like where it's supposed to be. So this should have been done at the beginning, because then I would have had more cable to work with. Basically, it was still, the cable was still here on this little theater, and basically it took like several inches away. Now you can see the cable's like plenty long and it's easy. It's not pulling back. So stuff it all the way through that thing at the beginning. I don't know why. It said, the instructions said don't pull hard. I know it's wrong to blame the instructions, but I took the instructions too seriously. Which is, you know, one of the reasons why there's no substitute for experience. It's difficult to put into words, you know, how to do things. Sometimes you gotta just do them. Wow, that was 29 minutes. 29 minutes. So at 11 minutes, we had nothing. 18 minutes later, we've added 3 pieces and fed a cable through them. My goodness. My goodness. All right, what is next? We're halfway through this page. Okay, next is the other side, of course, which involves I-10, I-15 connected by an I-16, and of course, that's going to go in the other side. Wow. So I-10 on the inside, I-16 on the outside, and connect them by a 16 pointed upward. Well, this should go a lot easier than the other side because there's no cabling. That other side. Okay, you want to see how easy the other side was like supposed to be? If we hadn't had to deal with cabling. Man, I just don't know how to get you the angles tonight. My arm is constantly blocking the shot. And that's it. Basically now we just gotta lock it in. Slide it down. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's how easy it is when you don't gotta deal with a cable. But here's the thing, that piece. What's going on here? This I-10 and this piece down here, they have room for the cabling. I don't know if there's later this will get cabled, but they have the same, like, yeah, they have all the same, like, pieces, like as if we are gonna do the cabling. I don't know, maybe we will at some later point, or maybe they just made it symmetric because less people will mess up. Anyway, maybe there's gonna be a cable there. I don't know. All right, now on the top here, again, I gotta go to this camera. So now on the top here, these little, whatever you call, oh my goodness, they're like both blocked by cameras. All right, see these little pieces up here? Can we see them from here? Okay, yeah. My goodness. It's like I can't find the cameras to show you this thing. I'm not used to... Most puzzles are not this tall. When we start working on the floor of the pinball machine, it probably won't be as tall and won't seem as weird. But right now, we're going to add stuff on top of these little caps up here. So we're going like very vertical. Anyway, how to do that... So D1 and D3 on one side and D1 and D2 on the other side. So if you're facing this little stage, then on the left goes D1 and D3. They actually, yeah, okay, it's like D3 and D2 are missing pieces. Like D1 has 2 posts, and D3 has 1 and D2 has 1. But they're like mirror images. So anyway, D3 goes in the back here. The back of the left side if you're facing the stage. How deep does it go down? All the way, I guess, yeah. Yeah, there you go. What? Come on. It's supposed to be easy. Looks like there's some receivers, like no less than 3 receivers on this piece of wood. I don't know when they're going to come into play. It's going down into a T-shaped piece, which makes me want to... Maybe something else is going to go in front. Yeah, that's exactly what those holes are for. It's going to be an art piece that goes there. All right. And same thing on the back side. Back side's not totally in. Okay, so that worked. So we filled in that column. Looks nice. All right, so D2 and D1 on the other side. Man, every angle I pick, my hand just blocks the camera. Let's try this one. Come on. Get down there. Okay. D1 in front. That's in. Wow. Now we only have 4 pieces left. They're A14s and A6s. A6 is the pin. A14 is a little like decorative piece. Pin, decorative. So we're just going to put them like this on either side. There it is. Down at the bottom there. It's aesthetics, I assume. Maybe something's going to connect to it later. Or, I don't know, maybe it holds this in place. Maybe it's a pin for a connector for later. Or maybe it's just a decoration. I don't know. At least we finally got page 11 done. Because I was worried we weren't going to get a single page done tonight. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched. Okay. Almost there. Done. Page 11 is done. Now, page 12. Page 12 is split into a top and bottom. Let's do the top first. The top has 4 pieces, but some of them are multiples. It's actually going to be 13 pieces because 8 F1s, 2 A2s, 2 A3s, and a K7. So that's 13 pieces. So that means 113. On our way to 482, I'm going to call it 482 plus. I doubt it's going to end at 482. All right, I'm going to back this down to 112 because one of these pieces we've already counted, and that's the K7 piece. So K7 is actually just a tool, so that doesn't really count. K7 doesn't count as a piece. So we're only up to 112. So A2 times 3, I'm sorry, A2 times 2 and A3 times 2. Oh, A2, remember we were talking about some artwork going in here? Well, get ready for A2. A2 times 2. There we go. There's some artwork. And A3 times 2. A3 is more artwork. And F1 is going to be a pin. I know that. I mean, we need to pin these guys on, and they're asking for 8 of them. And there's 4 of them, and they have 2 holes each. So, I mean, I can visualize what F1 is anyway. Let's find out what F1 actually is by finding the F board. That's H, L. Here's the F board. Yeah, that's the F board. So the piece we're looking for is just like, yeah, it's tiny. It's so tiny. There it is. We need 8 F1s. That's 4 of them. That's 4 F1s right there. And we need 8 of them. So we're going to pop out 2 4-packs. So what I think we should do is put all of the F1s into these characters and get them flush, so they'll be sticking out the back, flush at the front. And then we're going to stick all the characters on, backing up the pieces. That's just a splinter. Though frankly it was almost the size of the piece. So the F1s are just a joke, really. There's 4 of them. I mean, they look like nothing. They are almost nothing. But they're going to hold on this artwork. I'll tell you, in other puzzles, they wouldn't even make this piece. They would tell you to cut a toothpick. I mean, that's what some puzzle makers would do. They wouldn't even make this piece. You know, I didn't even look at the instructions. I'm acting like I know this is what needs to be done. Let's just look at the instructions. Yeah, that's what needs to be done. Yep. The only question is which character goes where. And the way they go is when you're facing it, the A2s go on the right and the A3s go on the left. And then you spin it around and it's again A2 on the right and A3 on the left. So I don't even know what's the difference between A2 and A3. Is there any difference? Anyway, they want the A2s on the right and the A3s on the left. So I'm just going to move the A2s to the right side as like a reminder to myself, and the A3s to the left side. Though honestly, I doubt it makes a difference. I'm almost certain it does not make a difference. Should we put in all the pins first and then attach all 4 characters, or should we put in 2 pins in a character, attach it, put 2 pins in a character, attach it, put 2 pins in a character? I'm actually going to do that, at least for the first one, because I want to make sure what I'm doing, my plan is going to work. And then once I know it works, then I can do it for the remaining 3. If it works, I can do it for the remaining 3. If it doesn't work, then we come up with a new plan. But then we'll have to test that, and then there'll only be like 2 left to do assembly line style. So we'll see. Oh my goodness, I shattered that piece. I shattered it. Alright, so what you do in this situation is you just use the bigger piece. Actually, I'm going to use the piece that's stuck in. It's not bigger or smaller, but it's stuck in, so that's now the piece that's getting used. So this has to go. Oh, this was a mistake. You can't put the wood in first. See, good thing we tested it. There's a tab in there. So what you can do is put them in sticking out the other direction, which is going to be tough for this broken piece to do. Forget about the broken piece. Basically, there's a tab at the bottom, and there's an insert at the bottom, and there's a tab here. So the insert needs to go, the tab needs to go into the insert, into the receiver. And then if you have this sticking out the back, it won't go in. So you have to get it in first, and then you have to push it through. Which means if it's not lined up, it's not going to go in. So, is it lined up? Maybe push it out just a tiny bit so you can still make the connection. You can still get the tab in and then push it in the rest of the way. Because if you put it all the way through, you're not going to be able to get it in. Let's put it, I got it sticking out like the tiniest bit. And the reason I did that is so I can feel if it's going in or not. All right. I couldn't feel. It's not, I can't tell if it's in or not. Frankly, I would say it's not in. Ooh, there's an idea. Take the whole thing out. Put the piece on and then slide it back in. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's try that. Ooh, that's gonna work. Alright, change of plans. Push the piece back out. Then put the little character on, and then push it back in. There could be an issue with that, in that you don't have backing. When it's in, it has a little bit of backing. Wow. There's no way to do this. Alright, line it up, get it started, slide it in, finish it. Let's try that. Wow. What a disaster. Well, that thing's going to fall off at some point. It's not secured at all. Alright, now these ones, we're going to put them through slightly, so we can try to get them to grab at the other end. Let's try the needle nose pliers for getting them in. Anyone following that Sound of Freedom movie? It's pretty crazy, some of the things that are being said in interviews. Like, it's just a movie, but I don't know. Is it just a movie? There's a lot of things being said in interviews. It's like kind of crazy. It's like you don't want it to be true, but if it is, you can't turn your back on it. I think I was talking about this another night too. I guess it's like a big story, at least in my mind. Like, there used to be like some sort of universal... I broke this piece again. They're all breaking. There used to be like some kind of universal decency. Like you could expect... They used to have a word for people who harmed children, and that word was called monster. And it, meaning like it's inhuman to even do it. And there used to be like an accepted decency level where you could count on that not happening. Like nobody would be so horrible as to harm children, but apparently that's no longer the case. But if it's an individual person, you know, harming children, that person would become like a weirdo and an outcast, and people would keep their kids away from that person. But in this Sound of Freedom, which is based on a true story, it's like at scale. It's like, you know how McDonald's makes like burgers at scale, where it's like everyone's got a little bit of their assembly line job, and at the end you get a burger. It's kind of like that. It's so horrible to think about. You know, there might be people who are participating in this monstrosity without even realizing it. But then there could be a lot of people who are realizing it, and they're writing it off as like, well, it's my job or whatever. I mean, that's horrible to think that someone's job, I mean, that's not worth it. That shouldn't be your job. You can't accept that. But apparently it's going on. There's like, I don't know what's the word for it. It's like organized crime, but like imagine it's like drug dealing, but it's like, it's called child trafficking, but it's basically like turned into a job. Not a job, an economy. It's just horrible. I mean, you could just go see it. I can't explain it and do it justice. It's like horrible. Anyway, these guys are in, but there's a problem. I put the A3s on both sides. I was supposed to put A2 here and A3 there. But let me just pick these up again. Yeah, there's absolutely no difference. Oh, okay. You know what the difference is? Their belts. Like, their belts go the opposite way. So if the A2 was here, then his belt would go in opposite direction. So, like, to be perfectly symmetrical, their belt, this guy's belt should go up and this guy's belt should go up and out. Instead, they're both going, like, right. And now on the back, they're both going to go left. Because I'm going to use the two A2s on the back. So, it's a little bit not perfect, but I don't think it's worth redoing. If you want to redo it, go ahead. I respect your right to, but I'm not going to. I don't think it's that important. This piece broke. This piece broke. Those are now splinters to be thrown out. And now I need to talk about another news story while I do 4 more of these clips. All right, so Sound of Freedom, right? What else? Oh, was it today or did I just see it in the news today where they were exposing that, like, bribery, basically Joe Biden selling his office, not even to the highest bidder. It's like just in general, like selling his office. And I don't know if he's the only one. I feel like the fact that there's people defending him makes it seem like, why are they defending him? Are they doing the same thing? I mean, I don't know. I think I was talking about this last night too. Like, so I guess it just advanced even more. So like when Bill Clinton was in trouble, it was like, I mean, it wasn't a wholly a private matter, but I could see how people would think of it that way. But when someone's selling their office, I mean, it's not theirs to sell. If they owned a company and they owned like controlling stock in it, it would be theirs to sell. But when you have a job for the government, you're working for the taxpayers. You don't have anything to sell. It's not yours to sell. So I feel like that's a legitimate issue that people wouldn't defend based on what party they belong to, but maybe they'll defend it because they're doing the same. I don't know. Like, let's see who defends this and who doesn't. I think it's kind of like, I think you shouldn't defend someone because they're in your party. And I think that in the past, people haven't been defended. Like, someone's like, oh, this guy took bribes, it shouldn't be defended. But it's actually not the first time. There was a guy in New Jersey, and I told this story before too, where, he's a senator. He's a United States senator from New Jersey. But the thing about a senator is it's very narrow margins. There's 100 senators, 2 from each state. They're in there for 6 years at a time. So as a result, the voting in the Senate is like always very close because it's always kind of 50-50, toss up based on the people in it and what parties they're from. So a lot of people defended this Menendez, even though he was like taking bribes, just because they didn't want to lose their party's vote control in the Senate. And in the guy's trial, he didn't even say that. He didn't even deny that the money had exchanged hands or whatever, favors or whatever. He just gave an excuse of like, oh yeah, we're friends and I vote the way he wants and he gives me a bunch of expensive presents. They just said like, oh yeah, this is our friendly relationship. Like we do it not because it's a quid pro quo, but just because we're friends. Like that was his excuse. That's like sounds crazy, but that's a court case that happened. You can look into that. That's like in the history books. Crazy, right? I don't know if that piece went in or broke. It probably broke. I don't know. Yeah, same at the bottom. Did it go in or did it break? I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. These characters, it's not going to affect how the pinball machine plays, but I mean, we're supposed to try to do a good job. Anyway, I don't think they're going to fall out either. And maybe it didn't go in 100%, but I don't think it's going anywhere. So we got 2 more to do. I'll just give some personal news for this point. The summer's going quick. I mean, do you agree with me that the summer's going quick? It's July 20th right now. Let's see how August goes. Maybe it takes you July to get recover from the year and wrap up everything and finish up, and set up for next year. And maybe August is the time when you really relax. Let's see how that goes. And then in August, it'll become September, Labor Day, and you'll say like, oh, why is the summer so short? It's definitely going quick so far. I feel like you're welcome to have your own opinion and let me know. Just checking the chat there. Yeah, no. Okay. So we'll get these 2 pins in. I feel like at most we're going to do 2 pages today. This really was a slog tonight. That cable, now these little tiny pins. Things went slow today. I noticed that when these puzzles go up, the compilations go up, they get good view hours, but not. There's a lot of fast forwarding going on. So probably I would imagine that someone watches it if they're doing the puzzle at the same time. And they watch until they finish the segment. And then they fast forward to the next segment. Which means that I'm operating slower than everyone else. Because everyone's fast forwarding. Which is fine. I think that works out. I mean, I'm also commenting and doing... hitting the production buttons. I mean, I haven't been doing it lately, but when the camera angle changes, that's me. So that kind of slows down a little bit on the building. I got to do that. Here we go. I'm building the puzzle with one hand, producing the show with the other hand, and I'm talking, commenting while I do both. So that's what's going on. All right, we almost got this one in. Is this the only one is it finally oh man, this one went in the pieces went in without breaking. So it took us until the 4th attempt, but we finally got one right. This one's in there, snug as a bug. It's not going anywhere. All right, so that's the top half of page 12. Let's try to finish page 12 before we sign off, because it'll just be pathetic if we don't. By the way, I just like to point out we're on page 12 in piece 112 right now. All right, but that's about to go away. We're about to go to page 12, piece 120, because we're about to add 8 pieces, 4 A7s. I'm sorry, you don't see what I see. We're about to add 4 A7s and 4 A11s. I feel bad that you were looking at this camera like the whole time, because that's a boring shot. But anyway, not that there's any action going on the instructions, but at least you see what I'm doing. So anyway, A11 is just a little tab, and A7 is an even smaller tab. So we're just going to stick 4 tabs in here. Do they mean anything? Are they aesthetic? I couldn't tell you. There's the 4 A11s right there. So that's actually a fairly big tab, but I guess A7 is going to be a small one. Wow, okay, that just happened. I just knocked out the whole piece of wood. Rather, this thing won't let go. All right. There's the 2 A7s. No, 2 A11s. We actually need 4 A11s, and they give us a fifth one, by the way. There's an extra A11 there. And A7s are down here. 4 A7s, 4 A11s. Oh my goodness, is it going to happen again? Well, if it happens twice, then this is due to their bad design. Wow, look at that. That piece like totally got chewed up coming out. Alright, A7. Tiny little piece here. No, it's not as tiny. Those F1s, those were tinies. But for tabs, they're kind of slender. 4 A7s. Alright. So we're adding 8 to 112. That means we're at 120. So page 12, piece 120. Now, where did these go? A11s. Okay. We're working again with these characters. And they're going to get 2 tabs each. At the top, they get an A11, and at the bottom, they get an A7. So I see where the A7 goes. Oh, okay, you got to like tilt it to get a look and see where that A11 goes. You see that space in there? I don't even know if you can see that. It's there. I just don't know if you can see it. You see that little spot in there? Tell you what, I'll put a piece in there, and then you'll see it. You'll either see it or you'll think I'm doing magic. I'm going to slide this piece into that spot. Oh, no, I'm not. The A7 goes at the bottom. The A11 goes up there. Which, you know what? Means that you're never going to see this piece anyway. I'm going to put it in there, and you're never going to see it again. Because it's so tiny. It's so tiny and it's so wedged that I can't get it in. Oh my goodness. Time for the needle nose pliers. All right. All right. Did I lose a piece? 3, 4. Yeah, I'm definitely missing a piece. There it is. All right. So this piece is tiny. This is it. We need to do. Did you ever play that game Operation when you were a kid? Did you grow up in the 70s like me? 70s, 80s, 90s? Well, 90s was more like college years. I even did like 5 years of work in the 90s, but mostly was high school and college. Anyway, in Operation, you had these little tweezers, and there was this character with a red nose, and they had pieces that kind of looked like this. And the tweezers had like a wire attached to them, and you had to reach and pull the piece out. And if you touched the walls, it would complete a circuit. Between you, like the piece you were holding touching the wall would complete a circuit, and a buzzer would go off, and the person being operated on was a clown. The game was called Operation. And the person was a clown, and if you touched the side, then the buzzer would go off, and basically you would lose your turn. I think you were allowed to keep. You would like spin a dial, and you would have to pick the piece. And I don't remember what the dial said, but maybe like one of the pieces was like lose a turn. But if all the pieces were like funny bone and whatever bone, then you can just keep picking until all the bones were gone. And if you're good at the game, then you win. There's like the other guy doesn't even get a turn. So maybe it was like a single player game, really. Or maybe like a lot of games of that era, it just wasn't that amazing of a game. You know, you either got frustrated or you mastered it. Either way, it was only so much entertainment. Hungry Hungry Hippos was an interesting game of that a little bit later period. That one came out. It had these bunch of marbles that floated around and these hippos. And you would just keep pressing the button and your hippo would keep eating marbles, and whoever ate the most marbles won. And my family didn't have that game. I think my parents considered it like not educational or whatever, but my cousins had that game. And I remember being really excited to go there and play that Hungry Hungry Hippo game. Stupid as it was. It had my interest. Where does this A7 go? Am I putting this in the right place? Yeah, top and bottom of this drummer. Why is the A7 so much bigger than the A11? The A11 fell out, by the way. It's not going to go in. There's like, there's a board behind this character. It's not going to go in. It's like crazy. Oh, am I doing it wrong again? Yeah, I'm doing it wrong again. Which one goes at the top? The A11. I guess I just didn't realize this was the A11. The big piece goes at the top. So, if you fast forwarded, you missed about operation, but you probably got the pieces in because you weren't putting them in incorrectly as I was. So the A11 is the big piece, and that goes at the top. A7's the little piece, and that goes at the bottom. I can't get any of the pieces in. What is going on? All right, small one at the bottom. There's like no way to hold this thing. Alright, I'm going to put it in like that. Nope. I feel like I'm just supposed to announce the piece, put it in, and move on to the next piece. Instead, I'm spending like 5 minutes trying to get each piece in. Oh my goodness. Well, it's in. They're both in. So that's why they were telling us to use this piece, were they? Yeah. Use this to push the pieces in. Big piece at the top. A little piece at the bottom. And then the K7 to push everything in. Wow. I'm using this tool that I have. Looks like a guitar rather than the K7. Just used to this one. And the A7. Okay, A11's the big one, A7's the little one. A11 goes at the top, A7 goes at the bottom. I've probably given the several versions of the instructions. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Wow. Getting slightly efficient at it. Of course, as soon as I say that, I drop a piece and can't fish it out. Wow, yeah. The smaller piece, definitely the tougher one to work with, especially on this theater side, because it's like the ledge underneath it is longer. That makes it tougher. Got it. 2 to go. Oh my goodness, I got one with my fingers. All right, last one. Got the last 2 with my fingers. Wow. All right. Anyway, that's for tonight. It still looks nothing like a pinball machine. It's just, I don't know. It's just this end. You know that front end where it's like really tall on a pinball machine? I guess that's what we're going for here. Anyway, we're going to stop for the night. Right? Basically, that's it for tonight. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night. See you tomorrow.